Shalom, shalom, peace and blessings. Now let's get straight into it. What did this election teach us about the so-called black woman in America? So if you see here, it says 2024 exit poll, vote for president by select demographics, and Harris versus Trump. We know that Trump has won the 2024 election at this point. And let's look at what our women, at least if you're a so-called black man, let's see how she voted. If you look here, 91% of the so-called black women in this country voted for Kamala Harris. That is alarming. I mean, just think about it. It's hard to get 91% of any demographic of people to agree with anything. If this poll was for, do you believe in God? I guarantee you it would not be 91% for the black woman, or really even probably the so-called black man. So just think about how much uniformity that is in the state of our women. This really helps you understand. And that's if this, is even, true. This this could be skewed, but I wouldn't imagine by too much. I don't think that this is 20%, 30%, anything like that. I mean, there is probably some type of variance anywhere between, 5 to 15%, might be 100%. I don't know. It could be 99%. Candace Owens might be the only so-called black woman that didn't vote for Kamala Harris. I'm just kidding. It's obviously it's more of them, but seriously though, I mean, the variance can't be too high, so I believe this to be somewhat accurate, but either way, what does this tell us? I mean, this lets us know that our women, they gone, man. They go. Most of them are liberal. They have embraced liberal ideologies, which is Babylonian ideologies, everything that's contrary to the scriptures. They believe in having more than one man. They don't believe in quote unquote traditional relationships or marriages. They believe in transgender rights. They believe in BLM. So if you have, children with these people, these creatures, you're going to have BLM babies. A lot of these women are witches. Okay. And that may sound like kind of crazy to some of y'all, but some of y'all already know that. A lot of these women are literally witches. So you have to be careful. This lets us know a lot about the so-called black woman. And the reason I'm bringing up like them being harlots and everything is because at least one of the main talking points for this election is, the abortion bill or the abortion ban. They call it reproductive rights, as if the woman is the only one that has a say so in this, or it's just like she just impregnated herself or something. Reproductive rights is what they call it. That's one of the main talking points. And that's what really got the so-called black woman to, vote at such a high rate for Kamala Harris, because, allegedly she's going to make sure that Kamala Harris being that she's going to make sure that all women have reproductive rights, and Trump is going to take away your reproductive rights. You won't be able to abort babies, something else. So, because, black women, most of them, if you ask them on the forefront, especially if there's some type of police brutality or, something like that going on where they could use that energy to get attention, they'll say, oh, we're for the black man. We want the black man to do this. Why did you do this to George Floyd? He was a black man and this, and we got to make sure our black men, blah, blah, blah. But then all at the same time, at a 91 percentile rate, they agreed to kill so-called black babies. All right, which a lot of them would grow up to be so-called black men. Everything that these women do in the society, I mean, it's just backwards. The things that they say versus the things that they do are sun and moon, night and day. All right, black and white. They're always going to be contrary to each other. And at such a high rate, 91%. I mean, dang, just think about that. You put 10 so-called black women in a room, and more than likely 9 of them voted for Kamala Harris, meaning they have accepted Babylonian ideology. So this tells us a lot. I mean, this could be its own series of the different things that this tells us. But one of the main things I wanted to talk about was what this means for the so-called black man, as far as what it really means to find a wife, in the society at this point in time, or where we are before the end. Let's get Proverbs chapter 31 and verse 10. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. So this is kind of, a classic. Everyone pretty much knows about Proverbs 31, which is really about Israel as a nation of people. And it's a parable for the nation of Israel. But either way, you also can take this from a surface level for sure, because a virtuous woman, her price is far above rubies. All right. Meaning it's only 1 out of 10 so-called black women. If you're a black man and you decide to go with a woman of your own ilk, only 1 out of 10 of them probably going to be any type of good. That's how rare ruby is. You have to take this literal. You have to take this serious. I see so many of our men that just find a woman that's nice to them for a few months and they think that they didn't found them a ruby. That's not how that works. A real woman, a wife material woman, which is that 1 out of 10. And of course, these are not precise numbers, exact numbers, but I would take that, to be somewhat accurate. It might even be worse. It might be, like I said, 95% or something. I don't know. But seriously, though, to find a good woman, it is rare. So if you have a good woman, if you found a good woman, you keep hold of her tight, because you will not come by them on a daily basis. You just won't. All right. A lot of our sisters are not good women. A lot of our mothers, cousins, aunties, they not good women, man. It's hard to find a good woman in society. So you have to understand too, if you are, if a lot of y'all brothers that are in the dating world or whatever the case, you got to understand you have to vet her. 91% of the time, she ain't gonna be talking about nothing. She gonna be a witch. She's going to embrace, liberal ideologies. She's gonna believe in transgender rights, homosexual rights, and any other letter that they add to that ridiculous LGBTQIA plus whatever's gonna be next. It's probably gonna be 27 letters before we realize it. They just gonna run stuff back. I, Gen Z, all right, whatever it is, they embrace all of that. Okay, which means that they are directly a contributor to getting rid of our own people, the extermination of their own people. They believe in that strongly, and they'll go to war over it for it too. All right, look how emotional they got. How many so-called black men were breaking down, crying and screaming and stuff when Trump won. It's women out here on social media was like, I just had to take the day off. This is one of the worst days of my life. I just woke up crying. Some of y'all probably saw that. Me and brothers was looking at certain tweets and stuff like that of these women breaking down. All right, 9 out of 10 women, you have to be very careful. All right, in this society, when you're vetting a woman or you're courting a woman, you have to be very, very careful. And even if you're already with one, you need to be even more careful. You got to think about it. Like when you with a woman, like if you have, say you're in possession of a gun, brothers that are, in possession, that gun in your house, she know where it is. You got a woman that you don't know that well. You've only known her for 3 to 6 months, something like that. And you think it's all good. Something go crazy, you have an argument, things get crazy. You never know what can happen. You have to keep all these things in mind, because 9 times out of 10, and really 90, let me say 9.1 times out of 10, that could be the case. You have to be very, very, very careful with the woman, because there's no wickedness like the wickedness of a woman. And that's not just me saying it. I thought about, as I was pulling this up, I thought about Sirach chapter 25. So let's grab a few verses from this. Let's get verse 1. In three things I was beautified and stood up beautiful, both before God and men. All right. So these are three things that the Most High loves: the unity of brethren, the love of neighbors, a man and a wife that agree together. If this was something that was just common, especially in these last days, it probably wouldn't be here. This is something rare. This is something to be cherished. This is something valuable. A man and a wife that agree together, because most women will make it hard for men to agree with them. Just the different doctrines that they have embraced in this society, because they're being taught this. That's why 9 times out of 10, 9.1 times out of 10, our women have embraced ideologies that teaches her not to agree with her man. All right. And then the man, we can't let him off the hook. So-called black man, he's embraced the thug ideology. He's embraced the criminal ideology. So a lot of our men, we locked up. And a lot of our men, we've taught, it's all good to be a bum, to not take care of yourself and of the woman that you're with. All right. An actual good woman. A lot of brothers are messing around on good women because, they may not look like, I don't know, Beyonce or something, whoever brothers feeling. All right. Because they may not be a 10 out of 10 of you. You ain't treating her right. All right. Whatever the case. But I just can't be remiss to not mention a man's fault in this downfall, because this is our fault. That's something I should have said a long time ago. When you see this shows you also the failure of the so-called black man. How are we teaching our women if 9.1 times out of 10 they're embracing the ideology that's destructive? It's not that if they vote for Trump that they're in agreement. I'm not saying that either. I'm not saying if they voted for Trump they're better from a standpoint of, oh, that's a wife material woman. You have to look at this data and, use discernment, right? But what I am saying is that more than likely, if they are here, it's going to be more likely than if they're here that they are going to be a woman that, don't embrace traditional beliefs, as they call them, so on and so forth. But anyways, back to the man, 9.1 times out of 10. This shows us that the so-called black man has not taught his daughters. He's not taught his woman, or whatever the case. We've taught them nothing. We've led them astray. This is our fault. The man is the head. Okay. The captain or the head is always at fault when things like this happen. All right. If in the NBA, if you have a team that loses, you're not going to blame the man on the bench. You're going to blame whoever the star player is, especially if they play. You're going to blame them. It's the head. It's our fault that 91%, I think that was the highest percentage out of any demographic that voted for anything. Yeah, it was. That was the highest percentage of any demographic that voted either way. By alarm, I don't think anything else is even up to 77 so-called black men, because we be simping. I'm gonna talk about simping in a second here too. But yep, nobody else voted anywhere close to 91%. Nobody was past that 77%. That was second in highest demographic in voting for anything. Vote for Harris or Trump in the demographics within that. So we're failing our women because we've embraced these ideologies too. All right. So first and foremost, it's our fault. I just happen to be on the woman now because 9.1 times out of 10, they crazy. Okay. They have no filter. They think they can talk to you any type of way. They're not in agreement with you. They're going to cause your life live in hell 9.1 times out of 10. So that's why it's a blessing to have a wife that agrees. All right. a silent woman, a loving woman, all right, that believes that the man is truly ahead, and not just for the first 3 months of the relationship when she's putting up that front that y'all know about. All right, y'all know about that front, that mask that the woman normally puts up for the first 3, 6, maybe even all the way up to a year, depending on how much money you got or what situation you in. But after that, that mask goes away. All right, and a man do that too. If he just trying to hit, a man to do that as well. He'll put up that mask and then dip out. But again, we just happen to be talking about the woman now. All right. So, verse 2, 3 sorts of men my soul hateth, and I am greatly offended at their life. A poor man that is proud. Wow, you see that a lot. A rich man that is a liar. So, a rich man that got his riches more than likely by deceiving. And an old adulterer that doteth. Man. So, let's get down more into the woman. Get some more on that. Because 9.1 times out of 10, they need these scriptures, but they won't take them. 9.1 times out of 10, if you're trying to teach them the scriptures, they won't be having it. And when I say teach them the scriptures, I mean the truth of the scriptures, not Christianity. Okay, because a lot of these women will claim to be Christians, but then when it comes down to reading the scriptures that tell them to be silent, or that the man is the head, they want to throw the Bible weight in. I seen someone say that Paul was a feminist. I mean, not a feminist, excuse me. He was a chauvinist or something like that. They didn't say he was a chauvinist or he hated women, so whatever it was, those Babylonian terms that they throw out nowadays, like toxic masculinity and male chauvinist and all these little homophobe, all these are Babylonian terms to try to throw a certain energy at you for you to be shamed to actually believe in righteous beliefs. But anyways, verse 13, give me any plague but the plague of the heart, and any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman. 9.1 times out of 10, the wickedness is upon the so-called black woman. It is what it is. Verse 14, and any affliction, but the affliction for them that hate me, and any revenge, but the revenge of enemies. All right, verse 16, brothers know this. I had rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman. And 9.1 times out of 10, you keep a house with a wicked so-called black woman. All right. And here Sirach said he would rather dwell with a lion and a dragon. Just imagine that. You'd rather go out, look on a couch and see a lion, a wild lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman, because a wicked woman brings much contempt, much sadness and depression upon a man, because it's in our DNA to be the head. So when you're not in control, it goes against everything that your spirit stands for, especially as a so-called black man, because it's in our DNA to be rulers, to be judges, to be leaders. All right. And not just over a nation of people, or not that you have to be a judge over a tribe, but over at least your own household. That's how it was set up. That's how the Most High set us up, according to 1 Corinthians, the 11th chapter. So that's all that we know. So it's in your spirit to be the head of your household. All right. So when you're not in that position, that's why it feels so bad. It's not meant to be, at least it's not supposed to be. All right. And any brother that's been with a wicked woman, I know I have been with plenty. That's why it feels like that. All right. Verse 18, her woman shall sit among his neighbors, and when he heareth it, shall sigh bitterly. How many of us sigh bitterly? Like, golly, this woman, man, she putting me through it. Verse 19, all wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. So if you have some wickedness upon you, then you deserve a wicked woman. So you deserve one of those 9.1 times out of 10 women, and we all, at least those of us that are aspiring to get close to the Most High, we all have things that we're working on, obviously. But if you are intentionally not working on keeping the statute, laws, and commandments to the best of your abilities, then you may deserve a wicked woman. You may be someone that you're so much in your wickedness that, that's why you keep getting a wicked woman and you don't even understand why. All right. Verse 21 should really be its own lesson too as well. Verse 21, stumble not at the beauty of a woman and desire her not for pleasure. So nobody said that these 9.1 times out of 10 so-called black women don't be out here looking good. All right. BBL or not, whatever the case, they looking good. Yeah, they definitely are. Obviously. But their spirit, the ideologies they've chosen to embrace is destruction. Stumble not at the beauty of this woman, man. Desire her not for pleasure. You have to be able to hold out. You have to be able to see a woman. She may look good to you. She may just be blowing you up. She just may be throwing it at you. But you have to know if spiritually she doesn't align. She is a Babylonian woman. You have to be able to tell her no. That's something that the so-called black man is just not trained to do. You have to be able to tell her no. I'm not dealing with it. And hey, you may have memories. You may have, y'all done got down before. You know what it's like. But still, you have to be able to tell her no. Because look at this. 91%. Somebody can count how many times I done said 9.1, 9 times out of 10 or whatever the case. But I'm literally saying that on purpose, being repetitive, because I want y'all to understand what this really means for the state of our women. And it was prophesied. I want to grab this real quick. I believe I had this up. Isaiah 3. Up. Isaiah 3, chapter 3, verse 12. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the ways of thy paths. That's what 9.1 times out of 10 so-called black women will do. Will definitely lead you out of the way, or here specifically to the scriptures, lead thee to err and destroy the way of your path. But women rule over them. All right. And also, I want to do a separate lesson too on Trump and what I think this means as far as him winning. But we can't get comfortable. It's not like, Trump won. Now, all of a sudden, the prophecy won't get fulfilled now or something. You don't get comfortable. It's not like Trump is this savior or something, or he's going to stop or slow down the prophecies. This place will still fall. This place still will eventually be ran all the way through with the different Babylonian ideologies. Everything is still going to get worse. I don't think that it's going to get slowed down per se. We could see Trump take a big turn. You just never really know what's going to happen. But again, I'll talk about that in a separate lesson. But either way, women rule over them. How many times did you see, oh, you the type of man that won't vote for a woman? You the type of man that, you got men out here talking about they don't want a black woman over them. Your mama black. that type of stuff. They was really putting that energy out there as if you were less than a man for wanting a woman to rule over you as a president, as a representation of the so-called country that you live in. And I'm not advocating for brothers to be patriotic or be proud of United States of America, nothing like that. I'm just saying from a standpoint, just from an ideology standpoint, there were people really trying to shame us for not wanting a woman to be president over us. That's how you know we in the end times. Like they were really doing that. But women rule over us, because look at this, 77% of so-called black men voted for Kamala Harris. I mean, think about it. Out of this percentage, how many of these black men knew that they shouldn't be doing that? But yet they did it because their mother told them to, their baby mama told them to, their woman did, whatever the case, their sisters, their aunties convinced them, even though they really didn't want to vote at all. A lot of so-called black men, they over this. They really didn't want to vote for all. They starting to see the truth, but they just couldn't let it go because they've been taught that the woman is supposed to rule over them, which is just fulfilling prophecy. But that's what we taught. 91%, y'all. That's deep. 91% has embraced some sort of LGBTQ ideology, embrace some sort of, abortion, pro-abortion ideology. All right, some sort of equality doctrine. Everyone is equal, meaning that she's equal to you. The woman is equal to you. She should be able to tell you what to do. Really, when they say that, they talking about the woman is over the man. All right, we're more and more getting viewed as nothing but sperm donors. Nothing but. That's it. Nothing but sperm donors. Okay, you're supposed to just be the one that's traditional. You're supposed to give the woman money. You're supposed to be the head from that standpoint. Provide and protect. Put your life on the line. But then everything else, she should be able to do. She don't have to do no cooking and cleaning. That's another thing I want to talk about, cooking and cleaning and what that really means to me, at least for the woman to be able to do. But none of the quote unquote traditional beliefs the woman should be able to do, but you should be able to do, or you should have to do as a man, but they shouldn't have to do that. 91% of the time, that's the case. All right. So if you find a great woman, which I don't know if a lot of us are even equipped to even have that discernment to even know what a great woman is, or a wife material woman, just using more modern terms. But, what the scriptures call a wife, if you find one, keep hold of her because it's rare. Really, I mean, just finding decent people is just rare in general. I mean, just finding genuine people is rare in general. Or really any nation of people, so-called black man, woman, white man, woman, it really don't matter. Finding people that aren't, overly selfish, or they are, they don't have ulterior motives, or they're genuine people, just actual good people is actually rare in itself. So I'm not surprised that it's hard to find a great woman when it's hard to find a great person just in general. Some of y'all might be wicked mugs. I mean, I don't know. Verse 22 can be its own lesson too as well. A woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impudency, and much reproach. So, I mean, again, this is its own lesson, but if a woman got like her own apartment or house or something like that, and y'all decide to move in together, don't move in with her, especially if she's paying the bills or something like that. Like, don't do it. Well, this is really talking about if she's paying the bills. I wouldn't do that in general. So if she has a house and y'all decide to move in, you need to get your own house, and she sell that house and she move in with you. Don't move in with a woman. Okay. And on another level, especially move in with a woman and she's paying the bills. I don't even like 50-50 for real, but either way, especially if it's 70-30, 80-20, oh my goodness, don't do it. And why is that? Because she's going to be full of anger, impotency, and much reproach. Verse 23, a wicked woman abateth the courage, maketh a heavy countenance and a wounded heart. A woman that would not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees. How many of y'all have had all these symptoms because you ran into a 9.1er? That's what I'm going to start calling them, a 9.1er. Because you ran into a 9.1er. And because, again, I had into my rib, every single one of them. Every single one. It wasn't even a close. It's nobody. Like a lot of times brothers be having like that woman that got away. And I didn't have any. I don't have a woman that I was with from the time I've been talking to girls from middle school all the way up to now that I was like, oh yeah, that I let her get away. That was a good woman. Nope, not one before my ribs. So, I mean, all of us probably have had these symptoms. Brothers probably still going through that, which is a whole nother issue. But I'm more talking about being careful moving forward. If you're already with a woman, sheesh, that's a whole nother issue. But either way, abated the courage. Have you not even feeling yourself? Make it a heavy countenance, a wounded heart. Would not comfort her husband in distress. So you got to go out there and battle the world and come back and battle with her. That's why they be like, yo, a man can't handle me. Like they a wild cage or a wild cage, a wild animal out the cage, I should say. Handle them. You handle beast. All right. Make it weak hands and feeble knees. All right, y'all. I mean, I could keep going, and there's different angles that this really represents. But for now, that's really all I wanted to say. You have to be careful. And again, this could be referring to family too as well. If you got 9.1er in your family, whether it's your mama, sister, whatever, you have to proceed with caution. That's why I always advocate for not talking to these people. Don't talk to even your family members, random women, about this election or about, the righteous path. Do not talk to them. Do not entertain them unless they have genuine questions. Don't waste your time because they have a certain spirit on them. They can't help it. They can't help it at all. So why waste the time because think about how extreme a lot of these women in this 91 percentile is, how extreme they'll go. How many names they'll call you, how they'll try to shame you. It's not worth the time. Do not talk or engage with these random women. I don't care who they are to you. Don't engage with them over this. I'm a big advocate for that because it's a waste of time and energy. You could be focusing that energy on being productive, but yeah, you going back and forth with a woman on social media all day about this. Like, don't do it. Do whatever you want, but I wouldn't do it at least. And that's my reason why. But either way, you have to proceed very carefully with a 9.1er. Very carefully. I'm more talking about being with this woman, but even in casual conversations at the workplace, we hadn't even talked about that yet. Don't engage. You got to know how to be able to just let them have their way. Who you voted for? I don't talk about politics at work. That must mean you voted for Trump. No, it doesn't mean that at all. I don't feel comfortable having this conversation. Well, why not? Look, if this keeps going, I'm afraid I'm going to have to go to management because I feel very uncomfortable having this conversation with you. Let's get them off your back. Don't engage. Don't engage in either way, but especially when you're courting a woman, be very, very careful because they have a way to appear to be, the other 9%. And look, again, I'm not saying that if a woman vote for Trump that she's a righteous woman. I'm not saying this is literal from this graph, meaning from who they voted for. All right, not being literal there, but just as a representation of wicked women versus a righteous woman, or a woman that, I won't say righteous woman, but a woman that could be taught, to be righteous. All right, a wife material woman. That's more what I'm referring to. That 9% of women that can be a wife material woman, you know. So you have to proceed with caution. All right. But that's pretty much it. Lord willing, this was edifying. Until the next time, I bid everyone a mighty shalom.